listen up. Y'all, it's the queen of automation, Megan Donnelly, here to give you inspiration. Founders and business owners gather round. I'ma show you how to build systems that'll astound. Streamline your processes, no need for complicated.
Hey, welcome back to the Queen of Automation podcast, where we talk about why technology is only good when it works and how I help you make it work. I have a very exciting guest for you today, Mando Sallavanti, and the reason he is very cool in my eyes is because, okay, let's be real. We all like to talk about money, right? Everyone likes the idea of money. Nobody wants to talk about finance because it's really boring and it's all about numbers, unless, of course, I guess you're a bazillionaire and then it's probably really fun to talk about your numbers. But for the rest of us who live in the real world, numbers are really boring, right? Mando makes finance and numbers not boring. That's what I have to say about him. But I'm going to let him tell you where he's tuning in from. Jump in, tell everybody what you're up to these days, because I feel like you are all over the place all the time doing fun, exciting things. You have an amazing team of people, and your content is fantastic, right? Like we all have this thing that we're obsessed with called LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And Mando does LinkedIn really freaking well. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So introduce yourself, tell us where you're calling in from, and all of the things.
Yeah, so I'm Mando Sallavanti. I'm from Scranton, PA, and my business is Freedom Path Wealth. We have a partnership with Mass Mutual, who helps us with a lot of the resources at our firm and whatnot. And we primarily help two groups of people: business owners with less than 20 employees and sales executives, typically in the tech industry.
See, this is why we're talking. And I did butcher your name, but it wasn't the last name. It was the first name. Mando, not Mando.
It's
I keep
okay.
calling you Mando.
Everybody reads it as Mando, Mando. It's like the same at this point.
You know, it's kind of crazy. I was like, ooh, this is a name I know. I'm not going to ruin it. What can I say? So I have to say, one of the things that I love about you and your content is because you are not just talking about finance and wealth. You're talking about what finance and wealth can do for the person that you're working with. So financial freedom, like what does your retirement look like? What do you want to do now? Like you want a car, you want to build a deck, you're talking about things that are modern and relevant to people who have money. Guess what? We all have money or don't have money, right? Like money is a thing. It's a tool that everybody needs to have. And I absolutely love the way that you frame it up for people, because you are talking about one of the things that I love to talk about, work-life balance. Because anybody who's known me for more than 5 minutes knows that I'm not a huge fan of the term work-life balance. Like that term itself just doesn't exist, right? Like we all have one life. You can't separate it. But what your content does is shows people how to integrate, if that's a good word, integrate the two, right? Build a lifestyle you love, pick whatever career you want, but go after that lifestyle. And your content is all around lifestyle building, and it's awesome. So I would love to hear your take on this, because it's so huge on LinkedIn, right? Like everybody talks about work-life balance and this, and it's really cool to talk to each one of my guests, because every single one that I've had on the show, we all kind of have the same idea that work-life balance, that particular term isn't the right term, but everybody has their own idea of what it should be or what it could be. So I would love to hear your take.
So there's two sides to this, Megan. And really the first one, I can remember back when I first got started in financial services, everything was about help people save as much money as possible, invest our money as much as we can in the best things possible. And ooh, this new financial product, this is what people should be using now. I was hearing all these things, but what I didn't hear a lot about was what happens when people want to use the money. And not just for even my client's sake, which, yes, that's a huge part of it, but even for myself, I'm navigating my own financial life. Like, I don't want to just put money away to never use it, to just have a big pile of money. And I don't think you do. I don't think anybody does. So work-life balance, planning our finances today and in the future for quote unquote retirement planning. I think retirement is that word for me, where I'm like, it's like this icky word. I really don't like it that much. Yeah, cringe 100%. But it's about how do we balance these two things? Because ultimately, the reality of life is we could be here today and gone one day, and we don't know when that clock is ticking down until. But we can enjoy things now. We can take trips if that's what you like to do. If you like to have a nice car and that's your thing. If it's something else that you collect, some crazy niche item that no one else in the world collects, I don't know what it is. But my point is, Why should we sacrifice everything today at the expense of having a good retirement and not being able to enjoy that in the future? My grandfather died when he was 65 years old. He got cancer, God rest his soul. He passed away a little over 10 years ago. And I think of him and I'm like, he did all the things. Now, he had a great life and he didn't put stuff off and he did awesome, but he passed away at 65 years old. What if he didn't? What if he didn't prioritize family? What if he didn't prioritize enjoying life now? Other things like that. He's the prime example of work 40 years and then you pass away. Well, I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my clients.
I love that you framed it this way because for a lot of people out there right now, hey, listeners, pay attention because all of you, and I know Mando is much younger than me. I'm going to age myself, but that's fine. All of you in your teens that are starting your career out right now and you're on this like corporate career path and you want to like move up the ladder and you want to do this thing, be very, very careful. I'm not saying don't do that. Like if that's what you want to do, awesome, go for it. Like you do you. Make sure that's the lifestyle you want though. Because I'll tell you, I wasted like my 20s and my early 30s in corporate working, like 75 hours a week. I missed all of my kids' stuff when they were young. Like I wasn't consistently able to go to my son's football games until he was in middle school. Middle school. That's 12 years old, guys. I have 3 teenage boys. So if you can imagine, and he's the oldest, so there were 2 younger ones after that, right? So it was awful. But when you're in the moment, you're like, this is great. I was promoted 3 times in 3 years. And like, all these things are happening in your lifestyle, in your career. It's moving in the right direction. And then like you said, and like years later, you turn around and you're like, what just happened? Like it's gone and you can't get it back. So that's the other thing that you're really great at with your content is talking about time management, right? Like money and time management, because you can't get either one back, right? You spend your money, it's gone. It's not coming back. You can always go make more and use it as a tool, but time is the thing that you can never get back. It's not coming back. You can't build more time, right? There's 24 hours in a day. So it's very cool watching you put the two together when you're storytelling and stuff like that, because it's almost shocking because you are a younger guy, right? Compared to a lot of the finance and wealth guys out there, right? And in retrospect, and you're kind of just laying it down like, what are you guys doing? Like you're in your 40s, your 50s, you're missing all this stuff. Like here, I'm doing the same thing, but guess what? I'm going on vacation. Me and my girlfriend and wife, fiance person, we're over here doing this. We're traveling all over the world. And guess what? I'm still making money. And the story behind your journey and what you're doing is just awesome. I can't even, I'm trying to put it into words and like trying to think about the right words to say, but you can see it when you're talking about your clients too, because you do a lot of storytelling about your clients and like how you're helping them and, build these lifestyles and stuff like that. And so I would love for you to talk about your ops a little bit. We're going to get a little geeky now. We're going to kind of transition into, because you are somebody who is not afraid of technology. You're not afraid of automation. You're not afraid of using those and stacking them onto your knowledge of wealth and time management to help you get the freedom back, right? So let's talk about that and how you put that in place for your clients, right? Because I'm still shocked, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm still shocked at the overwhelming numbers of people that are still manually paying invoices, manually paying bills, like not automatically transferring from checking to savings. Like these are basic, fundamental daily things. Why are you still doing them by hand? I don't understand. I don't understand why you're still doing this. I don't even care what tool you use. I have my tools, but use whatever tool you want, but don't do it by hand. That's silly. So so tell us about that, because I can't even imagine in the finance world what you see, because I feel like it's so antiquated sometimes.
Well, the number one thing, Megan, is the way people manage their cash flow. And actually the example that you gave of people manually transferring from checking to savings, for example, is something that would drive you crazy. Now, I think there's some psychology at play with a lot of decisions we make, not just that, but in how we make money and how we manage it, majorly psychological more than anything from my perspective. And here's what I mean by that. 9.9% of people, they get paid, it goes to a checking account. Now with that money in a checking account, I have to make a choice to move it from checkings to savings, to investments, whatever it is. And even if I automate that, I still need to make a choice to automate it. And if I need to increase it as I make more money, I still need to make a choice to increase my automations and change that. So this becomes a problem, because if money stays in the checking account, what probably happens to it? gets spent. That's me. That's
Spent it.
probably you.
Yeah.
That's everyone in the world. I don't care who you are. So what we do with clients, and talking about ops for one of the ways that we automate things, and this really helps twofold. Number one, it flips this behavior for clients. We have a software that we use, and it has to be, this isn't available to the public. It has to be through a financial advisor. But with this software, they get a bank account that is through this software. They have a partner bank that they have. This account is what we call their reservoir. All income, whether it's business income, real estate income, W-2 income, comes into this reservoir. We then set automations to send money to checking, just like we send money to an investment account. So we're choosing our checking number. All of the other money stays in the reservoir, builds up. Us as the advising team can see this, and we have data on it. So now we could be super proactive. But not only that, when we have meetings with clients after 3-4 months, when we're coming in for update meetings throughout the year, we don't have to go back, get data, what happened, what'd you spend, what's in savings. Like it avoids so much administrative details and tasks that otherwise 99% of advisors I know are having to do that, and probably less efficient because they're getting data that isn't concrete and proven to them. Like it's just hearsay.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that we do. So I'll pause for a minute. But helping our clients automate cash flow management through this software that we have visibility, major game changer to save time and get better results for clients.
And that's the best way to do it, right? Like you're using it, the whole cliche work smarter, not harder type thing. It's cliche for a reason because it actually freaking works. Like it works. Like just do it. What's amazing to me is how very few financial firms and softwares and stuff are using AI. Okay, first of all, guys, AI is a computer. What's better at math than humans? Computers. Use the computer to tell you, and you could use a percentage, right? And so when I see the financial world using AI and when they're doing it right, it's when they're using percentages. Because like you put the percentage in there of, and I don't know what a good, 20%, right? Like, so you dump your paycheck into the reservoir, 20% goes here, the rest of it goes wherever, and you use percentages because then no matter what, no matter how up or down your income goes, it's still always 20%. The percentage never changes. Now, obviously you go in and you adjust, I am assuming, making the assumption, you adjust the percentage based on, revenue. Your revenue goes up, your revenue goes down. Like you can adjust that percentage. So it's still a choice. You have to adjust the percentage.
It's super dynamic. Like we actually do it as dollar amounts from there. But the good thing is like we go conservative because then if it builds up, me as your advisor has visibility to an entire dashboard of all my clients and where they're at. So if you have more cash or less cash, I'm going to be proactive and before you ever need to reach out to me and say, hey, Megan, we should make XYZ change, And
you look like a rock star, right? Then your clients are like, wow, look at all this money you just gave me. And you're like, it was all there, which is kind of crazy to me because it's like, it's your money. And it's one of those things where if you don't have a financial advisor, go get one because at least from my perspective, now I'm using someone who from my previous job was there and, he's a local guy, but I don't even have to touch it, right? Like I don't have the money goes in, you get your money and the rest of it it does what it does. And unless I ask questions, like it does, or if something really bad happens or something like that, he reaches out. That's the best part. Like, I don't want to have to be responsible for trying to figure out how to manage that and watch it and monitor it. And no, thank you. Like I'm busy, right? And so are all the people that you work with, right? Especially if you're talking about like sales, like IT sales and tech sales. Those people are extremely busy. Tech's moving so fast and so rapidly all the time. I can't even imagine, right? So why not just call up somebody like Mando and be like, here, will you just handle this? Like, here, take it all. Like, just do whatever you have to do. I haven't figured out why, like you said earlier, mindset, right? The mindset for so many people is one, they're embarrassed, right? I'm assuming like they don't make enough money or, whatever. They're embarrassed because when you talk about money, it's really uncomfortable to talk about for most people. Like there's not enough of it or they're, I don't know, maybe they made bad choices and you guys become therapists. This is what I've heard in the past from other people.
Yeah.
You guys
100%.
become therapists, right? Like divorces and all of the things that happen, like that affect your money. I can't even imagine the stories. There are probably stories that you're not telling in your content that you should because they'd be funny, but well, only to me. not to that person, you know.
But some great
How do
stories that
you
I
deal
probably
with that?
can't tell.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. How do you deal with that though? Like, from, you know, because that's the human side of operations that people don't realize, right? Like you can automate 98% of every business pretty much out there, right? You really can. You can get it as close to like 95 and 98%. But it's that 1%, you know, 5% human factor, especially in your industry when it comes to money, that there is no automating. If a person wants to get you on the phone and talk to you and tell them your life story and your problems and why they don't have enough money this month, they are calling Mando and they're going to say, this is what's happening. What do you do in that situation? Like, how do you just listen? Like, are you the bartender that listens? Like, I don't even know.
Well, I can tell you, like, back when I started my career, I thought that becoming a financial advisor was all about, oh, being the smartest guy and figuring out all these things and give someone the ideas they've never heard. And ultimately, that's not what it's about. I think this is actually most service businesses are what I'm about to say. What being a financial advisor means to me is getting the person who's working with me to stay accountable to the actions they know they need to be taking and to actually take the actions they need to be taking. They don't pay for information. Google, AI, ChatGPT, all these things, like you can find any information you want, but it's how does the information apply to me, or what I would call context. I have a mentor, his name's Dave, and he always says there's a ton of content out there. But what people don't
Mm-hmm.
have is context. They need context for how this applies to them, and they need someone to make sure that it gets implemented. I get paid to help people actually implement and stick to things. And for my clients, that's, you know, listening to them, you talk about that. That is where I think the trust is built, that they feel truly understood, that they're like, Mondo gets me. Like I know that he gets me. He's telling
Yep.
me this because he truly understands where I want to be.
This is the key right here. And I want, again, everybody, for those of you that didn't hear it in the back, let's scream it louder. Execution, okay? There's so much information out there, information overload, like you said, GPTs, all of the AI solutions, Google, all of the stuff. You can go out and find all of the information that you want. What those tools are not going to do for you, unless you know a really, really amazing AI expert, they're not going to build you the execution. Now, there are some very powerful people out there that can do like autonomous, like automation of execution. But here's the thing, they're still executing your strategy. And it's still a machine, right? So, like with AI, the thing that's really scary is people are like, do this. And then they literally like turn it on and then they copy and paste it. And then they wonder why their shit sucks. Because you can't, it still has to, you still have to put your brain behind it. You still have to give the right prompt. Even if you want to automate that, you still have to strategically understand how to move the money from point A to point B. Why do you want to put it in this fund versus that fund versus, you know, whatever? There's still a brain behind that. Can you teach the computer to learn all of that? Yeah, for sure. But it's still going to mess up at some point. Like it's still a machine and it still needs a human person to run it. And I think that's the big misconception for a lot of industries. Finance being one that freaks me out. Hospitality is another one that is so antiquated and behind the times. I just put out a post today about the fact that they're still using fax machines and sending like paper checks in the mail to employees and stuff. Like it's just mind-boggling. Like some of that stuff's insane. But the other part of it, when the automation screws up and nobody can get into their rooms in their hotel, or the automation screws up in your software and whoops, 50 people just lost $100,000, you know, like not that it happens like that. Well, I guess it could, but these are the things that people don't think about. They just assume that it's just going to do it for them, right? And it's crazy to me that there's a fine line between what we can automate, what we can have all the systems and processes for and do the right way, and what we can't. And one of those things is like you just said, is that human touch, right? Being able to put the execution in place for your clients is always going to require Mando to be on the phone with a customer at some point, understanding their wants and needs, getting to know if they've been divorced. Do they have kids? Do they want a new car? Do they like, what is their lifestyle? Nobody wants to talk to a bot about that. And please, God, don't tell them. Please don't use bots to do that. Have a human conversation. It's not going to kill you to talk to somebody for 15 minutes. Can you set up an AI bot to do that? Sure. I could whip up an AI bot that would do that for Mando. It would call his customers and it would ask all these like personal weird questions. They probably wouldn't even know it's a bot. Some of them might. And then he would get all the information spit back to him in a transcript. What do you think that does? That puts him back in the pool of all the other finance guys that don't give a shit about it, right? So the over automation of your operations is a real thing. And here I'm the queen of automation, right? Love automation, love software, love technology. Too much. It can be too much. It can be. I don't even know. Like I could just soapbox about this for hours, but I want to jump back in and talk about, so one of the things that you said earlier was understanding like people's lifestyles so they can live their life now and not just save for retirement, right? Like retirement. We talked about that being a cringe word. I'm totally on board now because I've completely switched my lifestyle, right? Like now that I'm working for myself, if I want to take off on a Wednesday and go hang out with my kids after school, like I take off on a Wednesday, right? Like, so building your life in your, whether you work for yourself or anybody else, like it doesn't really matter, I guess, who you work for, but making sure that you're building your lifestyle so that you can actually enjoy it now and in the future. I would love for you to talk about that because I'm sure that that terrifies people that you talk to. Well, if I spend it all now, I won't have enough money in the future. Like, so what do you do about that? Like, how do you ease their minds?
There's two sides to the coin, and one of them is I grew up poor. I now have a little bit of money. I'm afraid to spend it. The other side is I have money. I'm going to spend it all, and I could be dead tomorrow, so I'm not going to do anything for the future. I think both sides are not necessarily good. It's about finding like what can we take good from each side and mesh that together. So I think there's a few fundamental things that whether you are a W-2 or you are a business owner, like you want to be putting a quarter of your income towards your long term. I think that's just bottom line. If you're doing that, quarter of your income going towards your long term investments, whether they're in the stock market, whether they're in real estate, whether they're in a business you own, because that is an asset, that is an investment. I think a lot of people miss that mark. And that's another thing which I could talk about where they don't think their business is an asset. And then the other side is they think their business is their only retirement they need, which are, again, both are flawed and extremes. Anyways, back to the main point is if I can make sure my long term has a good portion of money going towards it, why don't I spend the rest of the dollars today? And if I don't have enough money to do that, well, then I don't have a work-life integration problem or a financial planning problem. I have an income problem. And if I have an income problem, the way you solve that is invest in yourself, pay for courses, read books, go intern somewhere, go learn from someone, get a mentor, whatever those things are. Join a community, an amazing way. Do that to increase your skills so your earning power is higher. And now all the other stuff gets easier. So those are a couple of the main thoughts that come to mind. And I think one more, like credit cards. These are another thing that get demonized by a lot of people for good reason, I will say, because a lot of people will get credit cards, they max them out, they think it's free money and it's not. They owe money and you got to pay them off. But if you can be disciplined and use credit cards and pay them off every month and accumulate the rewards and play the game with that, I mean, Megan, a lot of the travel that me and my wife do, it's through credit card redemptions with points. That's how we take advantage of this so often.
So it's great. So my husband's actually really, really good with like managing credit cards and money that way. Like I'm horrible. Like I refuse. Like I have 2 credit cards. They're very low minimum balances. And I use them for like gas and groceries and stuff like that. And then just pay them off, right? Because that's what, I was taught to do. And it actually works out great. But for the bigger credit cards, they freak me out. So I'm just like, here, you get to deal with that. Like we have a Disney card, and like stuff like that. And we do the same thing. We use the points. We use it for traveling with the kids and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's fantastic. And it doesn't have to be this negative thing, but they scare me, right? So I'm like, ooh, Amazon, I'm going to go shoe shopping. Like I find stuff on I'm that person, they come home and he comes home and there's like 6 boxes from Amazon. He's like, what did you buy? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, when did you buy this? So I don't sleep very much. So I used to like just shop at night. And so it was really bad. Like, so I'd have boxes show up and I'd be like, I don't know where it came from. Like, whatever. Bad idea. Amazon is, my love-hate relationship with Amazon. But credit cards it's funny that you mentioned that because I feel like a lot of people are they're either just using them or they're scared shitless of them, right? Like, so my 19-year-old son, he keeps, now that he's graduated high school, and in between this like high school college thing, he keeps getting all these credit cards. And I said, you need to open one of those and actually sign up for one. And he's like, no. And he's like totally freaked out about it. And I said, no, we will show you the right way to do it. But just like you were saying, like, it doesn't, you don't use it for gas. Use it for like, you don't, you start out like this is, I'm not talking about like go buy a Mercedes on your credit card. Like that's stupid. I'm talking about using it for monthly essential things and then pay it off. And I was shocked. Here's something you love at how many, and I don't know, again, I know you're younger than me, but I still don't think that this was a thing when you were in high school either. So our youngest is a freshman this year, like he's a freshman in high school, and we're sitting at freshman orientation. And they talked about one of the new Wisconsin state laws is to graduate high school is you have to take a finance math class. I literally stood up. I'm not even kidding you. I stood up and started clapping and cheering. Everybody's looking at me like I have 7 heads. And I'm like, what? I have 3 other kids that went through this school district, and every single one of them, the first 2 have already graduated, and they graduated without having real life like knowledge of money and how to manage it and how to handle it, because they don't teach you that in high school. It all comes back on the parents, which got it, right? Like, yes, stand up as a parent, like should have done that better. But think about it. As parents, you're busy. I have 4 kids. Like I can't get to everything. And I was just floored that I was like, oh my God, it is 2024. Well, 2025 now, but 2024 when we're sitting in that orientation, and they're just now implementing finance, like how to manage money and budget money and put together a budget in high school in 2024. Are you kidding me? Like, is anything real? Like everybody in that little auditorium thought I was insane. And I just sat down. My husband's like, sit down. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how are you not clapping right now? Like, this is amazing. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because they don't do it until college? Like, or until like probably somebody like you decides I want to be a financial advisor. I'm going to go
Well,
into
I'll even
finance,
tell
wealth,
you,
and
like
money.
my finance curriculum in college, it's very corporate-y what you study in college as a finance
Which
major.
is the
It's really
worst.
not anything personal financial planning. It's all like formulas and reading a corporate balance sheet. And it's not even the stuff to apply.
Yeah.
Like 99% of what I know about how to be a financial planner, I learned in the workforce, which is kind of crazy to me, but still.
There's a whole industry built around the fact that nobody knows how to like budget money or do personal finance. Like,
Yeah.
how is this even a thing? Like, how do you have a job?
Yeah.
I just am. It baffles me. Anyway, so that's my personal finance story because I thought it was insane that it's taken that long. But I don't know. This whole topic, I could probably go on for another hour, but I don't want to take up your time too much. So I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you if they want to talk to you about finance and money and numbers and all the wonderful things that you do. And also just where to find you if they want to talk in general. I will drop your LinkedIn link in the show notes below so they can link directly to your content there because I think that they should go see all those stories. But tell them where else they can find you.
Yeah, LinkedIn will be the best place. I'm also on Instagram. I have an email newsletter as well. LinkedIn will be the best place to find me. I'm most active there. I post most often there and engage the most there.
Okay, great. We'll drop that in there. And thank you so much. This has been a fantastic conversation. And I hope everybody reaches out to you or at least goes and check out your content so you get some new followers, right? And that is all for now, everybody. And remember, technology is only good when it works. And we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.